Welcome to CoDE, Confessions of a Domestic Engineer. Hi there everyone, my name is Christian Eschbach, and you may know me from such videos as my album reviews, Chris Joe Bob, member of the Howling Odyssey, or if you really go searching through, the creator of Mojo Verse Garden. Before I go too far, one thing I have to mention it when I talk about Chris Joe Bob, and I will mention Chris Joe Bob a lot off and on this. Chris Joe Bob is a comedic character that I play. Chris Joe Bob is not me. I like to keep the two of them very separate, which is why Chris Joe Bob has his own engineer. I love the term domestic engineer. It's a great unisex term to describe what used to be termed as a housewife. And I'm not talking about a trophy wife. I'm talking about an actual housewife. You know, the person that stayed home and took care of everything in the house. Took care of the cleaning, the cooking, took care of the house. All right. So that is a domestic engineer, and that's what we're using as a definition here. Now, in my particular case, I do more than just what would be the traditional female roles in the house. I also do all the guy roles in the house, the honey-do list jobs, you know. I'm responsible for all the gardening, and when I say all the gardening, I don't just mean, you know, nice, pretty, small little flower garden. My entire front yard is a giant flower garden, and my backyard is a giant vegetable garden. You gotta love the pretty pictures when they pop up on the screen as I talk, right? So anyways, the reason why I'm talking about this is there's also more than that, you know. I do as much plumbing repair in the house as I can do. I do as much electrical repair in the house as I can do. Or updates, modifications, stuff like that. You know, the house that I live in was purchased with my common law partner, Tracy. The two of us bought the house in September, I believe, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was middle of August. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is Tracy and I are in a position where Tracy goes to work. She's got a great job. So she's in a position where, you know, she can take care of that and allow me to stay home. Realistically, I would like a part-time job, and this is where I go into our advert. Hi everyone, if you love the content that is on here, support me on Patreon. Yes, that's right, on Patreon. Now, as I've mentioned in the introduction, I do Chris Joe Bob. Chris Joe Bob has his own Patreon account, and it's out there. You can go visit Chris Joe Bob in the links below. But for this Patreon, I'm not going to ask, if you watch my album reviews, I'm not going to ask you to give money during the album reviews. I do the album reviews because I like to do album reviews, and I do them so other people can maybe watch them and say, hey, let's check out this album, or maybe I'll stay away from this album. They're done for fun. They're not done for any type of money. This, on the other hand, helps sponsor content, not only there, but I have a lot of content, like for my days with playing in the Howling Odyssey, which I do still own the rights to. There is a website that's out there, but the website's not functionable anymore. But if you want to be able to, you know, go on YouTube, you can check it out there. You'll find a link for that below as well. But going off topic, where I'm trying to get at here is I have music. I have a bunch of other stuff I do, a bunch of stuff that can be made as exclusive content with relative ease. And in the Howling Odyssey, we had a lot of good music, and a lot of it I'm actually working on remixing because some of it didn't get released, some of it did get released. Some of it I like other versions better, whatever. That's not the point. What I'm trying to get at is that is some of the exclusive content I can provide to my Patreon subscribers. That's on top of everything else that I do. And it helps fund things as well. If I get money for that, not only does it make me say, hey, I'm contributing financially to my household, and I don't have to be out there struggling to try and find a part-time job, because let me tell you, trying to find a part-time job as a white male in his early 40s is very difficult, because everybody automatically assumes I'm a slacker, when the reality is I just need something where my priority doesn't have to be that part-time job. But, you know, that's a whole different discussion. So this is my pitch. If you go to Patreon and subscribe to Patreon, you can help me provide in my household financially. Back on to CoDE. Alright, so that was my advertisement. What I'm trying to get at here, everyone, with Confessions of a Domestic Engineer is I'm actually trying to convince more men to stay at home and take care of the household, and more women to accept this. I have a whole entire episode, and it's going to be the next episode, that's going to actually be dedicated to using some numbers to help show why this is actually better for the job market, and to help explain a few things and whatnot as to why I think more men need to definitely be comfortable at home. But I do think more women need to leave the job market as well. I think we need to actually create more of a gap in the job market, which in turn causes more of a bidding war to get quality employees. Getting ahead of myself, let me get back to this particular So in this introduction episode, like I said, I take care of, the electrical, the plumbing, the gardening. I do the cleaning in the house too, though, and I'm the one that does the vacuuming. I wash the floors. I don't sweep. I have a really nice vacuum, so I really hate sweeping. It's use my beautiful, nice vacuum, and I don't want to plug, but it's one of those really fancy ones. My woman loves me very much, and she bought me a fancy vacuum because we're allergic to cats and we have cats. But that's how much my woman loves me. She bought me the fancy vacuum so I could take care of the house with relative ease. And me, there's people there. I love this. I love this classic housewife kind of thing where, I get all excited. Ooh, brand new fancy vacuum. Ooh. I actually like that. I get shit for the kitchen, man. I'm happy as hell. Ooh, new toys for the kitchen. Yeah, I'm housewife that way, man. And that's cool. But, I still do all the manly stuff. And I want to give you an example of doing the manly stuff, all right? When I had to move my shed in my backyard, okay? I used to have 2 sheds. When we bought our house, we had 2 sheds in our backyard, and I had to dismantle one and take one out completely. And the other one, I had to move over to closer to our house because the way that they were positioned was, I guess, an okayed deal between, the person who owned our house previously and the next door neighbor, but they were a fire hazard, and there was zoning laws and stuff like that I recognized and wanted to take care of as soon as I could. And I'm glad I did, because that house went up for sale, which means I would have been scrambling if I hadn't done it. But the shed that had to be moved was a bike shed that's about 10 or so feet deep. And I basically took care of moving it by myself. And I actually engineered it so I could move it myself. And engineered it, I don't have video of, I've got some funny video, and you're going to love this video when I play it, of me moving the shed and, doing my He-Man impression. It's great. But what you don't get to see is the engineering I did to actually do it. It looks really cool. It looks like I'm super strong. And I am, man. I had to move the shed by myself. And even with the engineering I did, it was not an easy feat, all right? It took a lot of work. Testosterone was pumping up on high when it was being done. But what I had to do is I had to put the shed onto 2x4s, nice clean 2x4s, and then I had to slide it across. But I had to move 2x4s as I was doing it as well, because it was a weird diagonal kind of position I had to move it in, and I had to put blocks underneath it. There was a lot of work that had to go in this. And I had to lift it up as well. So I had to use a car jack to lift up the 2 ends so I could slide the boards under in the first place. Ultimately, as you're hopefully seeing in these pictures here, you can see where we started, where we ended up, and now I'm going to show you what the video of me moving it looked like. Okay, everybody, who hasn't, as a guy my age, wanted to do this at least once in their life? And we probably all have at least once. I got to move in the shed still. I have to muster up as much strength as I can. And there's only one battle cry. I can muster up the strength to move this. The approximate 1 foot, I still have to move it. Ready? By the power of Christ, Six inches. Power, please. By the power of Christ, Now, I also don't want you thinking I'm some type of spoiled housewife or whatever, because there are 4 other people that live in my house and 2 cute little kitties. And one of them is right here. Give me a second. If you watch my music reviews, you'll quite possibly recognize Lanny. That's Lanny. Pandora's not up here right now. Lanny has been in Chris Joe Bob as well. In there, her name is Lannister Crowley. Just me extending her name to make it something cute and funny. But that's Lanny. She hates being picked up, or I'd show you a little bit more. And then there's also, like I said, there's Pandora. And Pandora's been in some video footage as well. Probably in Chris Joe Bob, I believe. Anyways, so my house is pretty full. Now, 2 of the people are my son and his girlfriend, who are both grown adults, who pay their own way, and they're responsible adults. It's just the market for renting an apartment is god-awful horrible. So Tracy and I are in a position to do what we can to help them out and give them a place, and that's how that works. The other 2 people that live here have been in Chris Joe Bob videos, one of which is my, brother from another mother, Drew, who I've also mentioned a lot in my album reviews. And then the other person is Sean, who is basically like Tracy's brother from another mother. And Sean is actually Robert Pye's Mitty in the Chris Joe Bob series. So that's the people in my house. Now, everybody in my house has to contribute to some degree. No one's allowed to be a lazy slob in the house. And to be honest, the 2 biggest laziest slobs in the house is, and I don't want to say slobs isn't gross, I just mean clutter bugs that leave stuff laying around, are the 2 owners of the house, which would be me and Tracy. Everybody else is kind and at least keeps their crap in their own separate areas. The reason why I mention this is, okay, so I have to clean the house after everybody, okay? I do the bathroom, I do the kitchen, I do all the main living common areas. I don't go in people's bedrooms. People's bedrooms are their rooms. The kids have their own separate bachelor apartment basically down in the basement. They use the main kitchen for all their cooking and all their cooking and stuff like that. But otherwise they basically live down in the basement. They basically take care of the basement for the most part, the exception being, once again, common shared spaces in the basement. I give all these details just to give you an idea of where I take care of. So if I take care of my entire room, which is, where you're seeing right now. Ooh, it's a wonderful room. So I take care of all that. I, down my stairs into the main part, the whole entire main house. And then I go down into the basement until I hit like the laundry area, and that's where I stop. Tracy does contribute to the house as well, so everybody contribute. Like I said, everybody has their own little ways of contributing. Tracy, when it comes to household chores, she tends to do the most laundry, and she tends to wash the dishes, because I do the bulk of the cooking. I also tend to, thanks to my mom and those whip cracking habits of hers when I was a kid, I also tend to wash the dishes while I cook if I can, so it's not even like I leave her a ton of dishes. But I do leave some, and let's be honest, I'm horrible about washing dishes. I'm going to be totally honest about that. So, there's times where she gets home from work, and if I haven't started cooking, she'll wash the dishes right away, because, she's washing my food dishes from during the day, and, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to present myself as perfect. I'm presenting myself as, a domestic. This has been a fun, long-winded discussion, and I hope you've enjoyed it so far, about me being a domestic engineer and the stuff that I do. And over the course of this series, I'm going to try and avoid a lot of hot buttony kind of stuff. I mean, it's going to come up. It is. It can't not come up. I'm a dude who's a male, living at home, not working, but I take care of the house, okay? I am a great little housewife. I am. I'm a great little housewife. And I never say, not tonight, honey, I have a headache. It's never happened. I've said, I'm too tired, you gotta do the work, but I've never said, not tonight, I've got a headache. Like I was saying, I want to avoid hot button topics. I'm very much about inclusivity. I'm going to try and stay away from politics. A lot of my politics, people would say, are left-leaning, but it's just common sense left-leaning from what I view it as. I'm not on that crazy... I really hate both the left and the right side right now. I really do. I consider myself center, but I'm going to be honest, my center is kind of left-leaning, you know. Topics like gun control, I actually believe in gun control. You know, I believe in socialized healthcare. I live in Canada. Of course I believe in socialized healthcare. I've had it my entire life. It's fantastic. You know, it's got flaws, but every system has flaws, right? So, you know, and I'm fine with paying taxes because I've had jobs. I haven't always been a domestic engineer. I've been a contributing member of society in that particular sense of being out and working. And I'm going to do a whole episode on that because I worked for, you know, in retail. Retail deserves a whole episode of, oh my God, what the hell? So, yes, there are going to be some hot button stuff I talk about, but anything I do talk about is going to be related to my experiences and dealing with women. And Tracy is godsend. I've also dated some other women that have been godsends. And in all honesty, a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about where I talk might seem like I'm talking poorly about women, and I do apologize. If at any point it seems like I'm talking about poorly about women, the reason why I'm going to do that is I worked in a job, which I will do a whole episode about, where I honestly was outnumbered. Okay, I was the only the entire time I worked there. I worked for this company for 10 years, and in 10 years, I was the only full-time, permanent male employee that was not a supervisor. They couldn't keep any other guys in there. Any guy that went full-time in that place quit shortly afterwards. And a lot of supervisors did too. I'm going to get into that. That's a whole different episode too. I just want to give you a rough overview, and I really hope that it's enough to keep you coming back for more code. All right. So, I love saying code. I think it's great. Confessions of a Domestic Engineer. Code. Anyways, if you watch my reviews, you know how I like to end this. Please leave me your comments. Any comments. I'm not going to turn these off. I may not always respond. I mean, you know, if I blow up and I get a million comments and stuff, I'm definitely not going to read them all. But I will be inspired. Anyways, so yeah, leave your comments. It's cool. Hit the subscribe button. That way you get notifications when new episodes come out. You saw the video asking for Patreon, so, you know, if you could do that, that would be cool too. Link in below for that. And otherwise, peace, love, and take care.